All right, today we're going to get into something really fascinating. Personal magnetism. You know, that powerful, almost mysterious force that just draws you to certain people? Well, we're going to break down the actual science behind it. So let me ask you this. Have you ever met someone and just boom, felt an instant connection? You can't quite explain it, but you're just pulled toward their energy. It's a feeling we all know, right? For the longest time, we've just called it chemistry or magic. But what's really cool is that science is now giving us a much clearer picture. Okay, so first, let's dive into this riddle of, well, inexplicable attraction. And this is not some new idea, by the way. This is a powerful force that has literally shaped human history. I mean, just think about it. You've got historical figures like Cleopatra, whose allure is the stuff of legend, or the undeniable charisma of Muhammad Ali and Nelson Mandela. And even today, people like Oprah Winfrey or Elon Musk, they just have this incredible ability to captivate people. It goes way beyond a specific time or culture, which proves this is a really fundamental part of being human. So, what's actually happening behind the scenes? Well, it all starts with our brain chemistry. Yep, we're talking about the powerful biological reactions that are firing away inside our heads. This brings us to something really cool called mirror neurons. You know that feeling when you're just perfectly in sync with someone? It's not just a feeling. A researcher named Giacomo Rizzolatti discovered that our brain cells literally mirror the actions and emotions of the person we're with. It creates this deep biological sense of connection. Your brains are basically having a whole conversation without you even knowing it. And it gets even better. Attraction is basically a potent neurochemical cocktail. When someone gives us their genuine, undivided attention, our brain releases oxytocin, the trust hormone. When they show real enthusiasm and passion, it triggers a hit of dopamine, which makes us feel rewarded. And when they're just emotionally stable, it actually calms down our brain's fear center, the amygdala, making us feel safe. It's this biological trifecta of trust, pleasure, and safety. All right, so we've got the brain chemistry. But how does that actually translate into traits that we can see and feel in another person? Well, these are the psychological keys to charisma. So, a really foundational piece of this is what's called the similarity effect. Our brains are basically hardwired to be efficient and keep us safe. So, when we meet someone who shares our sense of humor or our values or our experiences, our brain flags them as familiar, as safe. It takes a lot less mental energy to connect with them, which naturally makes us like them more. And here is the absolute best part. The qualities that create this magnetic pull, they aren't things you're just born with. As the psychologist Daniel Goleman famously pointed out, emotional intelligence, which is really the engine behind charisma, is a skill. And what do we know about skills? They can be learned. They can be developed. So what are these skills? Well, research consistently points to these core components. Authenticity is a total non-negotiable. We're just drawn to people who are real. Confidence, which is not arrogance, signals capability. Empathy makes us feel deeply understood. And another huge one, highlighted by researcher Angela Duckworth, is purpose. Having a clear sense of purpose is incredibly magnetic. It just radiates an energy that pulls people in. But here's the kicker. All of those internal traits get broadcast out to the world, often without a single word ever being said. This brings us to the incredible power of nonverbal language. Check this out. Albert Mehrabian's classic research on this is just mind-blowing. He found that the emotional impact of a message is overwhelmingly nonverbal.
A staggering 93% of it comes from body language and tone of voice. The actual words we use, that's just a tiny fraction of the whole equation. This leads us to the subtle art of mirroring. Research has shown that we are subconsciously more attracted to people who subtly mimic our posture or our gestures. It's a completely nonverbal way of saying, hey, I'm like you, we're in this together, and it reinforces that powerful feeling of similarity and connection. So let's pull all these different layers together, shall we? This is what we can call the attraction code, a final model that decodes this entire process. Let's be perfectly clear about this. Personal magnetism is not some kind of mystical, unknowable force. It's a real, measurable phenomenon. It's a process we can understand, and it's rooted in psychology, biology, and, best of all, in skills that can be cultivated.
So here it is, the whole model. Think of it like building a house. It all starts with a foundation. That's your psychological health and your self-esteem. From those strong roots, you build the internal level, your authenticity and your sense of purpose. That then flows into the emotional level, where you express empathy and real presence. That, in turn, fuels the social level, which is your competence and your skill in interacting with others. And finally, all of that gets expressed at the very top, at the biochemical level, through your nonverbal communication that creates that powerful synchrony.
So, what are the big takeaways here? First, remember that attraction is a skill you can absolutely develop. Second, it has to start with authenticity. You just can't fake it. Third, cultivate a real sense of purpose. It will naturally draw people to you. And finally, never, ever underestimate the power of empathy and simply being present. Your full attention is one of the most attractive gifts you can give someone.
And that leaves us with one last thought. If personal magnetism is really just a combination of learnable skills and not some innate magic, well, that puts all the power squarely in your hands. So the real question is, what skill will you start developing in yourself?